And we are back. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever it might be when you're listening to this. This is the Dad the Soul Extra Time Show. I am one of the presenters, I can't even speak. Host Daniel Flanagan. You are joined with me and my co-host Jim for your Tuesday lunchtime.
Hi.
60 minutes of live chat, topical debate, expert-led advice, kick-ass tunes, and we are busier than a PR expert that's trying to find a polite way of saying Joe Biden is not too old. We are more disorganized than a rifle sight expert at a Trump rally. We are Adler's Soul. Too soon, Jim? Too soon?
Too soon. Well, yeah, maybe. The Biden thing really hits home, though, because I feel like him now. And I'm 45. I'm nearly half his age, but
have you got a team of advisors around saying, no, Jim, you're absolutely fine. Carry on, mate. It's fine. Nobody wants you anymore, but carry on.
No, exactly the opposite. I've got people going, you're getting old. That's it.
That's just your kids.
Yeah, well, it is. It genuinely is. Talking about how old I am all the time. Flaming heck.
But don't you remember how old you thought your parents were? When you say, oh, Mum, they're in their 40s. Oh, that's so old. They've probably got their pensions and stuff. And now we're there, and it's like, that's not old, is it?
No, I really remember my dad's 40th birthday, so I'd have been 10.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, whoa, can you imagine even being 40? That is ridiculous. And I bought him a mug or something that said "Over the Hill" on it. It's like, yeah. And when I turned 40, I was like, I think I'm only just starting. I think, like I've done a bit of practice, and now I'm starting to be an adult at the age of 40, possibly. And 5 years after that, I'm like, well, maybe this was an extended bit of the trial. I don't know.
Yeah, I tried being an adult once. I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. Tell you what, you could have got for your dad as a present, right? You could have made an ashtray, which most primary school kids did, or you'd in woodwork, you'd make a bottle opener, or in pottery, you'd make an ashtray, which is a perfect gift to give your parents.
Yeah, absolutely. There were different times, weren't they, when we used to promote things like that?
Yes, I remember metalwork. We made ninja throwing stars.
Of course, because you had all the equipment there. Ninja throwing stars were one of those tales of playground yore. It was quicksand and ninja throwing stars. And in metalwork, you actually had the opportunity to be able to file down some metal until it was. I mean, you couldn't make your own quicksand. That was impossible. But you could do the ninja throwing stars. And
what could possibly wrong? Go give a few sort of prepubescent boys sharp metal objects to throw at each other's heads and eyes. It was fine.
Our design technology teacher did have 2 or 3 fingers missing, and that was a cursory warning for everyone. He was like, be safe. Why? Because of this. Oh, okay, right, fine. Fair enough. Yeah.
Did he make up a story, or was there an urban myth about it?
There was, and I can't remember what it is. So he definitely had some missing things, but once again, that could be from birth. It could be anything. But there was definitely a story about what he'd been doing and who'd seen it. And it's like always someone's older brother had seen it happen or something.
He was in Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of teachers were from the north of England.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no way of disproving it now as well. That's the thing. Do you ever get that when someone says something to you and you really don't believe it? You're like, I don't want to be impolite. I think you're talking nonsense.
I've got the exact response for them. You go like this, Chini Recon, which works really well for the audio version of this.
And there are men of a similar age to us, and it will be men as well, who know exactly what you were doing when you were saying Chinny Record.
Poor old Jimmy Hill, footballer, sports contender, basically ended his career with being told, "You're telling bullshit. We don't believe you."
That's it. You've got to have a legacy, and even if it's a legacy like that, maybe that's okay. I don't know.
So I think we should bring that back. Next time you're in that polite after dinner conversation and you're having a debate about world politics or something like that, if you smell a rat, you call that BS out.
Yeah. Oh, Chinny Recon. Oh, Jimmy Hill. Yeah, it would be nice. It would also, but that'd be a nice icebreaker at the start of the night to see who knows what you're talking about. And if no one does.
Yeah, exactly. Then it goes really socially awkward.
Yeah.
And you go into your back pocket for all your other tales go right. They won't understand Thundercats. There was definitely no Castle Grayskull there. And if I say they were lived in the LA underground and Soldiers of Fortune, they're definitely not getting that reference. Right. I'm staying mute.
It's so sad, isn't it? It's sad when people don't understand the same cultural references. It's such a
think
big part of our lives.
We are, potentially intellectually supreme.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Yeah. Why not?
Jim, on this hot, sweaty, muggy lunchtime, what are you doing? What are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing, because it started quite chilly this morning here in West Yorkshire, so I'm wearing a sort of flannel shirt, which actually I'm regretting right now because
who's that by? Isn't that what they say on the red carpet? Who are you wearing?
Who am I wearing? I think it's Wrangler or something. I'm not sure. I got it. In fact, this is a vague Dadler Soul link. I got it from a vintage shop in Brighton many years ago.
And you still fits you?
It still fits me. In fact, but it has gone through periods of time where it does not fit me, and now it's having just run a half marathon last week. It is.
You get that close.
Now in a situation where it does fit.
You did 13 miles. Personal best, or did you just personal best was not dying? It was
actually, well, according to Strava, although Strava wasn't invented the first couple of times I did a half marathon, but I'm fairly sure it was quicker than that. It was a personal best. So it was
well
good.
Done.
Thank you. It was good because it's the Ilkley Half Marathon, which is a lovely little town here in Yorkshire. And I did it 2 years ago, and it was about 25 degrees by 9 in the morning. It was so hot, 27, 28 while I was running it.
Yeah.
And it was awful and it was horrible. And I did it in about 2 hours and 10 minutes 2 years ago. And I wanted to do less than 2 hours. And this...
And
not die, definitely. Because also what they've done is quite hilly around here.
Yeah.
They've made the course so at 11 miles, there is a very long and very steep hill going upwards. And that separates the fit from the unfit. And 2 years ago, I had to walk after that because it was horrible. And this time I managed it and I was dead chuffed with myself. And I did it in 1 hour 54. Really happy.
Absolutely fantastic. Were the kids there on the finishing line, whooping you?
They were, but I feel bad I didn't notice them. They were there. So there was quite a big there was like a long straight towards the end and loads of people lined up along the barriers, but the blood was pumping so hard in my ears because I'd listened to podcasts all the way around. But I didn't at the end, towards the end, because I thought I'd get the atmosphere, but actually all I could hear was the blood pumping in my ears as I was going over the line. And they were like, "Oh, you didn't notice this?" I was like, "No, I did. I just wanted to get over that line and get the free banana that they'd promised me."
Well, anything for a free banana. So you actually listened? You weren't just listening to high intensity drum and bass. You were listening to podcasts.
I don't really like listening to music when I run. I like listening to podcasts because it sort of totally distracts me. It takes me out of the situation, and I'm running and I'm learning.
What would you recommend then, as a runner's friend on the podcast list, as recommended by Jim Marathon Man Coulson?
Well, what I saved for my run, and obviously it will depend on the sort of podcast you enjoy, but I saved a podcast that a couple of friends of mine do called History Happened Everywhere, where they take a random place, a random time period, and a random subject, and they have to come up with an episode about it for the next week. And that was good. It was about sculpture in the Netherlands in the 1900s or something like that. And they always find kind of interesting stories about it and do funny sketches. And so it's a really, really great, it's like a really varied thing. And it's lots of little sections as well, which is nice because it's, you're moving on, you're constantly moving. And then British Scandal is a great podcast. I don't know if anyone's listened to that. It's Matt Ford, the comedian, and Alice Levine, who my dad wrote a porno and she's on Radio 1 and stuff. They do it, and they do different series about different scandals in British history. This one was about Boris Becker, who technically, of course, is German, but some of the biggest scandals happened when he was in Britain. And And yes, I was listening to one of the episodes on that, and basically that got me round those two. So that was all right.
Well, that was what I was referring to in the last episode. It wasn't didn't call it my dad wrote a porno. It was porno films my dad had watched, which is a very different podcast. But in my head, it was the same thing. So if anybody went to search that up, I'm really sorry that your browser history has now been tracked by your mum and dad, and you're probably grounded.
So you've not mixed that up with our friend Aidan's show about films with his father, because that would be like inappropriate in many ways.
I can't even tell you what's just gone through my head. Right. We're after getting sponsorship for this, so I'm definitely not telling you what's going through my head.
Okay, good. And that's a sign of maturity. Maybe as you reach the significant landmark that's coming up,
Yes.
you're finally growing up. Who knew?
I doubt it. I think it's too late for that. I think I'm going to get worse. I want to be one of those really old eccentric buggers that just does not give a rat's arse.
There's a lot of joy to be had in that, I think.
Freedom.
We do care a lot about what other people think, and it's really quite refreshing and sometimes slightly offensive when you come across someone who's
casually racist.
Yeah. Those ones aren't as good, are they? But when someone just goes, I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna say what I think.
Yeah. I think I was talking about this to my partner the other day, and I was like, okay, I'm on the final third of my life, and the first third I probably didn't do half stuff I wanted to because I was so worried about what people would think. And then I spent the second third trying to find myself without that sounding too wanky. But now I'm kind of there, and I think I'm going to embrace it. So I want random conversations to lead to experiences. So, example of this, right? I'm not in any way, shape, or form committing to this, but I was at the Brighton Big Breakfast Club on Friday morning, which is a networking event, goes different venues across the city, run by two lovely dadless oldies. So big up Jim and Sam. They always have really interesting speakers, and I don't really like networking, but I make an effort to go there every month. Lovely people. And just as we were sort of leaving the event, I got talking to this guy and his missus, Sam and Justin, and they run something called the Wolo Foundation, which is to help the families and survivors of cancer. And what they do is do things like safaris in Africa, right? And he said, do you fancy it? We're doing it. It's 10 days in Africa. We do 10 miles a day. And at the end, we let animals that have been in captivity back out into the wild.
Wow.
So you go and hang with the Maasai warriors and all of that. And I was like, right, let me stop you. I'm a very ginger kid. If I go to Africa, I'm going to melt. Even though the guy, the hardest geezer that ran Africa, he was from my town and he was also a fellow ginge. So
but there's a reason he got a lot of publicity, because he did it despite that, right?
He did that, yeah. He must have been on about factor 4,000. that was just, and he also got mugged, and there's loads of other stuff that went on. But yeah, Justin, the lovely guy, I think I'm going to invite him onto the podcast to tell us about the exhibition. But I thought, yeah, it planted a seed. I like the idea of the utter stupidity, randomness of going, you know what, let's go and run in Africa and release some animals. When everybody gets older, you tend to slow down. And believe me, I'm a massive fan of an afternoon nap. I'm actually really good at them.
Yeah.
I don't like to brag, but I play nap roulette. Will it be 20 minutes? Will it be 3 hours? Who knows?
Well, and that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Used to be when I was a student, you'd wake up and you'd try and work out whether you were watching the evening Neighbours or the lunchtime Neighbours. Who knows?
Now, that's a hell of a lie in if you're waking up at 5:30, isn't it?
Well, yes. However, it occasionally did happen. So
it's only rock and roll, but I like it. So, yeah, that's what I think. I'm going to embrace maybe not go to Africa, but I'm going to embrace some adventures.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, there's a lot of time spent worrying about what people think and then trying to find out who you are in the world. Like, I don't know how we accelerate
Have you
that.
found who you are?
Yeah, I think I have. I have.
You like who you are.
Do
I found out who I am, and I really don't like it.
Yeah, no, good. That's annoying, isn't it?
Awkward.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I have. And I wonder how you accelerate that in your own kids. How you don't want them to get to the second half of their 40s before they enjoy that, or maybe it's just something we all have to do. Maybe we all have to do it in our own time, and there's no way of pushing it along. I don't know.
I think we could offer, pearls of wisdom. That sounds a bit dodgy, but I'm pretty honest with my son about quite a lot of things. Obviously, not brutally honest because they're things that are slightly X-rated. So we've got to keep them, age appropriate. But I tell him about how worried I used to be about peer pressure and, God forbid I was wearing the wrong trainers or something like that. And it really isn't important.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was critical, I suppose, to my survival in the playground that I was able to present in a certain way. And that's a terrible way to live your life.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like, I mean, I guess when you get older, you have worries still, but they're different worries, aren't they?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, God, it doesn't matter if people found out got these shoes from Tesco, really.
Yeah. At least I've got shoes.
Yeah, I've got shoes. And also, if someone's bothered about that, they're probably not worth knowing, are they? If they're going to...
That's what your mum and dad would have said, but at the time, they really probably were.
Yeah.
It was like Danny Zuko. It's obviously well worth knowing, isn't it?
Yes, of course. If you want to be in the T-Birds, then you have to. Yeah, obviously. But
another reference there for the kids.
Exactly. One day I'm going to get some new references. Hey, what about that Ghosts, right, on the telly? Yeah, that's
no idea what you're talking about. If it's on the 7:30 or more than 7:30, I'm asleep.
Yeah,
if it's on in the afternoon, I'm probably asleep. And if it's on in the morning, I'm struggling to get up.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, well, we'll see. But yeah, it would be nice for our kids not to have to worry about those things. But then it's probably easier said than done, isn't it?
Isn't it? Well, they could actually just end up being enslaved by the robot overlords of AI anyway. So that probably the least of their worries.
Yeah, true. That's you paint a suitably bleak picture of the future.
I'm available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, kids' parties, anything you need. I am essentially Russ Abbott.
Yeah. You love a party with a happy atmosphere.
Or a dire atmosphere. Should we have a musical interlude?
Let's do that, yeah.
Have you got a number by popular beat combo to share with the boys and girls at home?
Yes, I have. This is... All right, there's a little story behind this.
Go on.
So on Saturday, we went to a kind of music festival thing. And I've already talked about this band, Hope and Social, on this podcast before. So they are a brilliant, brilliant Leeds band. They've been going absolutely years and years and years, like 15 years. They've never had any real success. They can tour and they do all right. Particularly, they do well in Yorkshire, but they've never made it to the big time. And I was talking about them a while ago because the lead singer got a rare form of leukemia and they had to stop what they were doing for a year or so. And then he came back eventually. They had a gig just before Christmas last year where he came back and he's got his singing voice back, which is brilliant. And then the next thing they did was plan this big festival in Leeds on Saturday, a place called Sunnybank Mills, where they film the Great British Sewing Bee, if that's of any interest to anyone. And it was all domino themed. It was brilliant. It was really good fun. It was interesting. There was like a domino rally. So you got there. And in fact, I have for the video people, you got this big plank of wood and you had to decorate it. And then they put it into a big domino rally at the end. And all the dominoes set off like signs coming down. And
when you said video people, I thought you actually were going to hold up a VHS or a Betamax because that's what it looked like.
Well, it is pretty much the same size and shape as a VHS if you're listening on the audio, and I've decorated it in a sort of orange and yellow and blue style. But yeah,
another reference for the kids there with a VHS.
Yep, exactly. It's a Betamax.
Cutting edge we are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So anyway, what it was, brilliant night. Hope and Social were great. They headlined it and it was really good. And the kids came along and they enjoyed it. And they got to a late night because it didn't finish till after 9 o'clock. And I know. But we had good fun. So I'm not going to play your Hope and Social because I've already done that before. They're brilliant and you should check them out. What I'm going to do is one of the support bands who came on, I was not expecting what they were going to do. So they were like a brass band. They're like a New Orleans brass band funeral band. But apparently in New Orleans, you have the frontliners who are the kind of sad music people. And then the second liners who just bring the party. And so these guys are all dressed up like they're a New Orleans funeral band. They were wearing like bright tie-dye T-shirts. And they just did a set that walking around the crowd, they didn't even do it on stage. They were walking around the crowd. The bloke with the drums had a little trolley that he had his drums on. And they played 90s rave classics, basically. And they're called Mr. Wilson's Second Liners. They're named after Anthony Wilson because they're Tony Wilson, of course, because they play a lot of Hacienda classics. And so I thought I'd play you one of their songs. This doesn't really give you the impression of what it's like live, to be honest, because this was like a video that they've produced with a proper singer and that. But they were just running around. They were doing kind of sub, and they were doing the Prodigy, and it was just absolutely brilliant.
I like the idea of this a lot.
And this is their version of Pump Up the Jam.
It up while your feet are stomping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up a little more. Get the party going on the dance floor. See, 'cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you're too bad. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day.
Your body going on the dance floor. See, 'cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you're too bad.
Wow.
There you go. Mr. Wilson's second liners is what they're called, and I believe they're available for hire. But yeah, they would all walk around through the crowd with their instruments, just playing rave classics, and it's
I like the idea of it. I struggled, if I'm honest, with the video because I didn't know where my eyes should be drawn to because there was a bit too much going on. But
there was a lot. Yeah, no, I would give you that definitely. It seems to me that was kind of like a COVID project, where everyone was getting together on Zoom calls. That seems to be what that was. But yeah, the live, they were really good. I wasn't expecting them, and I really enjoyed them. So there you go.
Wow, I think live, yeah, especially if they're wandering through the crowds, because then you just break out into random dance moves as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it made the kids go and dance to "Ain't No Love and Ain't No Use" because that's what big hit for them, obviously.
Were they embarrassed to see you and their mum dance?
A little bit, yeah. No, by the end, they were getting into it. By the end of the day,
yeah,
it was because there was this Domino's theme. Before every band came on, there's a woman who came on and got everyone to do like a kind of dance with some pom-poms to Domino Dancing by the Pet Shop Boys. And the kids, they both said they hated it, but they came and did it. I think they loved it.
It's just afterwards again. Oh God, that was just so embarrassing.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, but there you go. But we had a good fun time. It was a good wholesome family event. I wonder if there were any other wholesome family music events that happened over the weekend, possibly, Dan.
Oh, wholesome, potentially not. Holy, definitely.
Okay. Well, yes. What I've heard, yes.
Yes. So yeah, this has been recorded just after our huge summer block party. So we took over this beautiful amphitheatre in a park in Hove. Killer DJs. So Dean and Simon, and we had the lovely Claire Fallows, did a funk and soul medley. She's an amazing soul singer. We had walls the kids could graffiti on. We had this wonderful project called the Outdoors Project. So there was crafting, circus skills, everything the kids could take hold of. We had Zombie Dizzly, who is an amazing sort of close-up magician wandering around the crowd. And it was great. The sunshine was with us. And we did it as a fundraiser for Dad La Soul. And sort of, for those who aren't aware, before Dad La Soul, he used to run something called Top Rocky Meets, which were afternoon raves. So haven't done one for about 5 years. So I was a little bit nervous about bringing it back. Would people turn up? There's always that nervous, being like a 13-year-old schoolgirl wondering if people want to come to your birthday. All really awkward. But we did. So we had just under 400 people Sunday afternoon they chose to spend with us. And the music was great, but to start off with, it took a little bit of encouragement to get people on the dance floor, even though the tunes were bang on. So I hit upon a very sneaky idea. Have you got the video?
You're grown up to the dance floor because we've got some competitions. Does any of the kids like sweets? I can't hear you. Do any kids like sweets? Right. If you want loads of free sweets, you have to get your grown up and bring them to the dance floor. We're going to do a soul train. So if your grown up doesn't love you enough to get to the dance floor,
fair enough.
if you don't have a grown up, grab somebody else who's grown up. It's fine. Aunties, uncles. We've got Grandad John down there. Grandad John's getting up.
I mean, it worked. It worked.
Yeah, I had to, to hire for the DJs. Is like, forget about that finely crafted playlist. Just offer free sweets, and it was beautiful. What the video will go on to show when we get the final edit done. We had a big soul train. So if you remember the 70s and 80s TV show, we had a line. So we had a line of mums and a line of dads, and then they had to come through the crowd and show off their best skills. Then after that, we had a dance off. So we had the dope dads against the mother funkers.
Good.
Yeah.
It's careful.
I've got into issues previously with that one.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. verbally dyslexic. But it was really good fun. It was just a way to, to get on the dance floor, be absolutely daft with the kids, and then everybody was home by bath and bedtime.
Perfect.
So we've got a raffle as well. So we're selling tickets. This raffle is the tickets are still on sale now. We will be drawing the winners this episode next, so in 2 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that is for one ticket is £5, or you can buy 5 tickets for £20, or I think it's 10 tickets for £30. And what we need to do, we've got a £5,000 target with all our activities, and that will give us an opportunity to buy this amazing bit of software, which will help us run really cool online events across the country. So for all of the dads like Jim, who's in Yorkshire but's never able to physically come down to Sussex, we can do some really cool stuff that isn't just a real socially awkward Zoom room, because nobody wants. We had that during lockdown. We don't want to do that.
Don't want to go back there. No.
So yeah, there's a QR code and amazing prizes. Literally, there's £1,000 worth of prizes from our friends and family have donated. So please, in the words of Bob Geldof, give us your money.
What I will do is I will stick the link in the description just down there, wherever you're watching this or listening to this. Well, if you're listening to it, you can't see me pointing down there, but in the description of this podcast, there will be a link. Click it, and you can go and join in that raffle. There's about a bazillion prizes, I think.
Yeah, there's private salsa lessons. There's story crafting lessons. If you're you want to get that side business off the ground. We've got bottles of rum from RD. We've got signed prints from soul legend Omar. Sweets. I mean, there's lots of really good stuff, and basically, if you give us your money, we can do very good things with your money. So, for the sake of a coffee, or if you get 20 quid, which is probably a round of drinks in the pub, give us that round of drinks instead.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
You can do it if you DLS it, which doesn't triple the tongue, unlike the hardware store that also use that slogan.
Yeah. Do you remember Do It All?
What happened to Do It All?
They must have gone bust or been taken over by someone else. I
Bit like
that.
Pizza Land.
Yeah, exactly. Pizza Land. That was a great shop. It was nice to have a little bit of competition between Pizza Land and Pizza Hut.
I had a job in Pizza Land when I was a student. I was a waiter, but they rapidly took me off waiting after one busy Friday night. It also became aware years later that's dyspraxic. So I was wonderful with the clients, but I just struggled taking their orders and putting it onto pieces of paper for other people to read. I write in code. So yeah, I ended up rapidly moving off the waitress service or the waiter service and into the industrial washer upper. But I did get free pizza every shift.
Oh, well, that's good. It was nice to know that they treated people pretty well. You never know.
11, 12 at night, trying to demolish a full pizza.
Yeah, because it's free, give it your best go, right?
I did, and obviously I had a much slimmer waistline there. I could eat whatever I wanted to, and I was still a slip of a lad. Now, I've got a belly bulge, right? And I noticed it on some of these videos where I was dancing yesterday, and try as I might, it ain't shifting, Jim.
No.
I don't know what to do. Change my diet. I'm doing a lot more exercise, but the fudge won't budge.
It's tough, isn't it? It's one of those annoying things is that as you get older, these things do become more difficult, and it's really annoying. And you can't, no one has that thing where they can make it all go at the same time. There's always like an area, isn't there?
Yeah. But we've got, there's a very active, healthy group of Dudley soldiers that get up at 5:30, and I saw some of them in the flesh at our party yesterday. They're all looking slim and gorgeous. But I cannot commit to getting up at 5:30 to run 5K. I don't think I was built that way. And I know it's a negative narrative to tell yourself, because who knows, I could be that person. But I just feel that I'm not that person.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder, because I want to keep running going.
Yeah,
because it's what I enjoy, and it's good for your mind, it's good for your body. But it's just some holidays are difficult, aren't they? Like, you know, there's already the juggle.
Yeah.
And then like going, I'm just going to go out for an hour just to run around the streets. You know, so I think what I'm going to do, I think early is now going to be my thing. I'm thinking maybe getting up when the kids get up.
Yeah.
Get them the breakfast, stick them in front of a screen for an hour, head off, come back, and then parent. So,
or you could get up at 3:30 while they're still asleep and come back and still remove them from the screen and involve them and educate them and engage them. First of all, so without using, you know, the screen as a babysitter, which is essentially a appalling, lax style of parenting. Terrible. You just need to get up earlier.
I did that at one point. God, this was when my daughter was quite young.
Yeah.
She's a terrible sleeper for a long time. But then she started really getting into sleeping. She started being a champion sleeper. And there were times when I was like, I was awake before she was awake. And it's like, this has not happened for a year and a half. This is weird. So it did. And we had a dog at the time who was not the fittest. So me and the dog went out for a run in the morning. It was quite nice. And then
you were a bit like Rocky and Butkus.
Well, yeah, in many ways. But then we ruined it by having a second child who didn't sleep for a couple of years. So there was no getting up earlier than the child, because the child was always up earlier than you. So
yeah, they just don't sleep. They're like some weird vampire thing, aren't they?
Exactly.
They blood suck your wallet, your life, your hopes, your dreams. Welcome to parenting.
Wow, you're in a right positive mood today, aren't you?
No, genuinely, I really am. The amount of goodwill that I'm feeling from yesterday. I had some, you know, really old mates that have travelled down that I don't get to see very often. There was people that I know from the business community, other pockets of my life. I'm willing to give up their Sunday and give us money, and, you know, see everybody off duty. It was really nice, and it was almost like it was my birthday. Even though my birthday officially is not for a couple of weeks, I am milking it like a Jersey cow.
Yeah, I would.
And yeah, to have 300-400 people sing happy birthday to me, I feel I was very touched, and I was very what's the word? Full of gratitude. You know, afterwards we went for packed away, came home, went for half a shandy and some chicken skewers just to decompress, and so that went really well. And I'm really, really, you know, pleased and proud of the team and the people that gave us, you know, because everybody was a volunteer. There's a lot of love for Dad La Soul and what we do. So yeah, I feel quite flattered, and I don't know what the words are, but full of gratitude.
If you are just a regular punter who goes to something like that, to any event really, you know, I mean, maybe less so the ones that are kind of mega corporations putting them on in their slick style, but anything that someone's put on like that, it's funny because you just go along and you enjoy it, and you don't know the immense relief at the end. My wife runs vintage fairs twice a year in Ilkley, and it really is. It's like the lead up to it. It's the stress of it. It's the preparation. It's the organization. It's the day when you're not worried. The relief when there's a queue at the door at the start and there's people coming through. And then afterwards, so many. I wonder how many takeaways a year are bought out of sheer joy and decompression.
Yeah, there's a crash. There is literally the build up, the stress and the adrenaline before, you know, doors actually open. And then getting everybody through the doors and making sure they're happy, because nobody wants to queue up for ages. And you've got toddlers, and the toddlers start whinging, and it, you know, it affects all of the user experience. It's like, right, get them in. But the Brighton Open Air Theatre team, absolutely outstanding. The outdoors project, you know, all the activities, outstanding. I just had to do a little bit of MCing and go around pressing the flesh. But yeah, it was really nice. I feel really very gradual. I tell you what, though, on a random other subject, there is one other event that's happened quite recently that I wish I was able to go to.
What's that?
That was when Cypress Hill did a collaboration with the London Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, this made the news, didn't it? Because The Simpsons had predicted it years and years ago.
They predict a lot of weird shit, don't they? Yeah.
There's this sketch where there's a music festival. I think, does Homer join like a music festival or something, a touring festival. And then there's the backstage area where someone's going, someone ordered the London Symphony Orchestra, Cypress Hill, I'm looking at you, maybe when you were high. And they were like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And it actually happened. And it was a sellout crowd. And yeah, I love that sheer level of, I want to say, apothery, because it's two things that should not work together, but really do. And it's joyous.
Should we have a listen?
Let's have a listen.
Hi, Cypress Hill, I'm looking in your direction.
You imagine being up the top of those nosebleed seats.
Oh my goodness. How, like, what an amazing experience that must have been.
It was, Cypress Hill, I think they're finally getting their flowers, but for years, they were at the very forefront of the legalized cannabis argument, and they took loads of knocks, and obviously now that is billion-dollar industry in the States. But yeah, I just love the idea of going, yeah, why not? Cypress Hill, London Symphony Orchestra, Royal Albert Hall, and then it's selling out.
Yeah. And it's fascinating. It is fascinating because it shows you the respect between musicians, and that you can be from a completely different genre, completely different tradition, but actually a talented musician is a talented musician, whatever genre it is in. And people, if you are talented at one genre, you respect another. You respect the musicians from another genre, and you can work together. And it's the combination we didn't know we needed.
It's a bit like that brass band that we played earlier, doing that. And I love that mashup. Have you been? I know the working with orchestras is quite popular. Now, Pete Tong's done loads of tours and stuff. I've seen a couple of those. Have you been into any of those sort of events where they take modern music and put it with the orchestra?
No, I've not. I was fascinated by them because it does add like a different sort of angle to it, doesn't it? The closest that I've come, I guess, is there's an act called the Commoners Choir, who are from Yorkshire, and the bloke who sort of organises it is one of the blokes who was in Chumbawamba, actually, and. They take a lot of sort of traditional songs and they do sort of but new spins on those.
Yeah,
they're very political, very kind of. There's got a song called the Jeremy Hunt song, which you have to listen to. I can't do it justice by telling you about it. But yeah, they've got a kind of like old and new style together in one, and it's great because it's a choir of however many people turn up. So I think they've got like 100 members. But at one gig you'll get 20 of them, and another you'll get 20 different ones, and it's
the logistics behind that just sends me shivers.
Can't even imagine it. Like how do you book out a venue? I've seen them at a few venues, and it's like, how many seats are you going to lay out? How do you know who's coming? Do you have to have a
backstage rider?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, can you imagine? There must be some pretty severe spreadsheets going on, I'd imagine.
There would be. Actually, I went to the pictures on Saturday night, and I saw To the End, which is a new Blur documentary.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, what they did is they filmed the run up to Blur getting back together last year. So they did their pop up shows in Wolverhampton and Eastbourne, and then they to lead to the couple of sellout nights at Wembley. And previously, they said we've never been big enough to sell Wembley.
Right.
So this was like the pinnacle of their career, and it was really lovely to see the band get back together. And it was all through rehearsal. They all look really knackered for multi-millionaires. Right? You can see they've had a couple of late nights.
Right. Yeah.
But it's really quite touching to see how much love is still for them, and the fact that there's a brand new generation of fans embracing them. If you watch the gig footage, there's a lot of teenage boys and girls there.
Right. Okay.
So, are they just the ones that have been brought up, with their parents playing Blur, which I imagine some have been, but then it was almost like they found Blur themselves. But yeah, it's completely random, but it's really touching. But Damon Albarn lives in this like converted lighthouse in the middle of nowhere in Devon on his own, which I found a bit spooky and a bit sad. But he's got recording studios and things. Could I live down there and just write my memoirs and create something? Yeah, maybe.
That sort of it's strange, isn't it, when you see behind the life of the people that have meant a lot? Because they're like Blur were a big band for me. I'm quite fascinated to see that, and I'd like to know more about what they're up to.
Yeah, but it's a two-parter. So one is From the End, which is a documentary that's released in the cinema, and then their Wembley gig is coming out on the cinema as well, so you can watch it on the big screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't get tickets. I tried to get tickets to the Eastbourne one, which is not a million miles away from here. So you would have seen them with maybe 500 people, which would have been nuts. Wembley would have been a bit too much for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. And also, I'm going to preface this by saying I love Blur. I do love Blur. Really enjoy Blur, but he's not the greatest singer, is he? Really. And to fill a big stadium like that with his voice. He's got a unique voice, and he's got a characteristic voice, and he's got a voice that instantly you know.
He had
who
Phil
it is.
Daniels.
Right. Oh yes, he could belt it out. Yeah, Phil Daniels is the one. He's belting everything out. He's bringing it.
But no, if you think of like Universal and stuff like that, they're quite cinematic songs.
Yeah. Okay.
If you've got the strings and everything else behind it,
and to the end itself, that to the end is a is a beautiful big sort of okay. I can see how they might do that.
If they did song 2, when everybody starts moshing, it was lovely but random. But yes, good wholesome watch for people of a certain age.
Yes. So that's the thing. Like all the bands that I used to like are now the subject of documentaries, some for better reasons than others, and it's kind of weird, isn't it? Where there's that big retrospective on the music that you liked, and you realize, oh, this isn't current anymore. This isn't the thing now, is it?
30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like when I was discovering these bands, it was like thinking about bands from the mid 60s. So yeah, I mean, it's weird.
Ouchie.
Yeah.
You did an ouch, and now Daddy's sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad. But yeah, that is it. That is my recommendation for the week. Do you have a recommendation for the week, Jim?
Do I have a recommendation?
Don't split your shorts.
Don't split your shorts. Don't spend too much money. Is the summer holidays.
What, have you spent most money on all your pocket money already before the holiday starts?
Yes. I've spent it on dull things like my son's guitar lessons for September.
That's not dull. And I thought you said I've spent it on dolphins. I thought that is great. Sending it on to the dolphins.
That would be pretty cool. I had to buy a new. I pay to have my alloy wheel of my car sanded down and a new tire put on because something had gone wrong with it that I didn't understand, but I just nodded and smiled when I was told about it.
Against a proper man, is like, yeah.
And then paid the £220 bill.
Needlessly. Yeah.
But no, actually, he was good. This is something. This is a real positive, all right?
Yeah.
Even just a couple of weeks ago, I think I was talking about rubbish customer service. I have had three examples of excellent customer service in the last few days, and I think it's worth celebrating that because we often talk about the negatives. So first of all, was this bloke with the car? Actually, I do normally feel like that around anyone who knows about cars because I know nothing. Absolutely, I can't do anything. I could put air in my tires. I could put petrol in. I can drive it forwards and backwards, and that's about it, right?
Put the 8-track cassette in.
Yeah, I can, and then play the Eagles or whatever it is. And sometimes when you go to a garage and something's wrong and you need it explaining a bit to you, it can be like, oh, and you get patronized. Yeah. But this bloke, he was lovely, really nice. Skipton Auto Body Repair, I think is the name of the company. He was really nice. He was lovely. We had a really nice chat. And it was just really good customer service. And
Skipton Auto Body Repair, go there.
Yeah, there you go. We could do a nice little jingle for them.
Yeah.
The next one's it's a company that makes slime kits. My daughter's well into slime, and we got her this slime kit from a car boot sale, but it was still closed. It hadn't been opened, hadn't been used, but there was something missing from it. And I emailed them and said, I got one of your slime kits, and this essential ingredient was missing. And they emailed back and went, oh, no worries, just go back to the shop and take your receipt. I paid cash and didn't get the receipt. Not wanting to say bought it from a car boot sale. And they went, we wouldn't normally do this, but we found this ingredient hanging around the head office. We'll send it to you. Oh. That was nice because they didn't need to do that at all. And they don't even work anywhere near the factory, but they just happen to have this around. So that was good. And then just this morning, our shower had broken, and it was the only setting on the shower was absolutely scorching hot, kind of
Scorchio.
Too hot. And even if you turn it down, it didn't make any difference. And there's this electrician that's come and done a few things. He did an electrical test for us when we had all our building work done. And so I knew him, and I was just like, oh, can you come over? And he fit me in. He was really busy, and he managed to fit me in this morning. And he came and had a look at it, and he adjusted a few things, tweaked a few things, and then he was on his way out. I was like, "Oh, thanks a lot for that. Just send me the invoice." He went, "Ah, no, don't worry about it." No, I have to pay you something. He's like, no, it's fine. And just walked off. Wouldn't let me pay him. So there you go. 3 bits of good customer service.
I've got lots of jobs. If you want to send him my way,
yeah.
bit of a journey, but if he's that helpful, then he won't mind the 400 or 500 miles in the car. That's all my shower at, which is a bit wonky, if I'm honest.
All right. I'll should I just give his name and address out here? And
Put
then
it out, and then we can just put it in random phone boxes and toilets.
Yeah, we'll work for free.
Yeah.
We'll tinker with your wires for free.
Phone calls, wouldn't you? Just put your number in toilets.
Yeah, I do wonder that sometimes you do see that graffiti sometimes, don't you? Call whatever number, and you're like, I know it's someone's mate who's doing it to annoy them. I just wonder how many people have rung those numbers.
Or it could be, phone this number for a good time, and actually, it could just be like a conversation with somebody's nan.
Yeah,
nice evening.
A lovely, pleasant way of spending the day. Yeah.
Or potentially quite disappointing, depending on what you actually were after.
Well, I don't know. But what if it was the booking line number for Thorpe Park? That'd be good, right?
It would phone this number for a good time. You're absolutely... This is the social media campaign that they've been missing. So Merlin Entertainment, whoever owns Thorpe Park, should get hold of us because we think differently.
I mean, I don't think Thorpe Park, perhaps, but something that was a bit more sort of slightly, corporately edgy, not actually edgy, but there must be a brand, maybe like the London Dungeon or something like that. Maybe that would be quite a fun, So you'd post it on, you'd write it in felt tip in a toilet. Yeah. You'd take the picture and you'd go, "Oh, I rang this to see what it was. Funny." You ring it yourself. And then, people would go, "Oh, yeah." And they'd share it around going, "Oh, yeah, for a good time, call this number and it's the London Dungeon or whatever." That is a great idea. That's a great viral campaign.
It is. They'd have to just imagine the person that had to take those calls, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of therapy that might need. What are you wearing? Well, actually, sir, I'm wearing my normal uniform. Thanks very much for asking. Now, can we look at dates for the kids along?
Oh, yeah, it does fall down there. That might be deemed harassment for employees, mightn't it?
Yeah, okay. I think in this day and age, we'd probably end up getting cancelled. But never let the law get in the way of a good idea.
I like it when people do extreme things like that and they don't really think of the consequences and it turns out terrible for them. But, well done for trying anyway.
Should we get away from leaving messages in gents' toilets?
Yeah, possibly, if you want. I mean, I could do it all day, but whatever.
Oh, you're such a square.
Yeah, all right.
We've got 6 weeks of summer holidays left, so maybe that could be an activity with the kids.
Yeah, okay.
Get hold of your arch nemesis. Do you have an arch nemesis? If you don't, get one. Get them. You want your mortal enemy. That's what my son said. It was ages ago now. He said, the kid in his house, he said, "Yeah, he's my arch nemesis." And what's he done? He said, "I don't like his hair."
No, well, fair enough. Every arch nemesis story has an origin story, right? And it could be as simple as that.
The ironic thing is his kid's dad's a barber.
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah, and I saw his hair and thought, he's not a walking advert, is he?
See, that's interesting because they always say when you go into like a barber's or a hairdresser's, pick the person with the worst looking hair because everyone else does theirs and they do everyone else's. However, when that barber has the son with the terrible hair, then that's not a great advert. No.
Hey, if that kid had really cool hair, he could just bring all of his mates in. Just come and say, "Dad, he'll give you a couple of quid off."
Like the Pied Piper.
The Pied Piper of curtains.
Yeah.
Or I've seen a lot of white kids bringing cornrows back, as a David Beckham, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
It's a statement, isn't it?
Yep. But would you go there? Could you? I reckon you could rock a cornrow.
I don't think I could.
We haven't got that much left for curtains.
No, exactly. I did have curtains back in the 90s, back in my Blur days. I had
Blur.
They were thankfully the photos from the time were a blur. and there weren't social media pictures because what an awful haircut it was for me. And I'm sure it looks lovely on some people, but it did not look good on me.
It looks lovely on Justin Bieber, and that's probably about it. Or the blokes from 5.
I was not the Justin Bieber of Scunthorpe, just if anyone was wondering.
Bitterly disappointed. I've always held out that I thought you might be, and I thought we've been working up to this, and when he's actually going to do this reveal,
No.
and it's not now. And now I think I need to go and sit with these feelings, Jim, if I'm honest.
Okay, I apologise for bringing you down at the end of this. It's it's ended on a sour note.
Everybody get up. Jim can take you down. Right. Are we done?
Yeah, I think we're done. We started singing 5. Of course, we're done.
No, you can always have favourite member of 5 before we leave.
Abs.
I was going to say Jay because I can't remember anybody else.
Sean.
You're going to name all of 5 now, aren't you? Without looking.
Richie.
You.
Oh no, I feel really bad because I don't know what the 5th one's called.
You could get major points here, and I can show me your hands. So you're not searching Google.
I'm not searching Google. So we've got Abs, we've got Jay, we've got Sean.
Alexa, I am not searching Google for the answers to this question.
We've got Richie.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to the 5th member of 5. I can only apologise.
I'm not sure they'll ever hear this.
You never know.
And I imagine they've probably got other things to worry about.
What
Do you
about how
want to
they're
just
going to get it down?
find out who it was?
I'm going to do it now. Yeah, I'm going to Google it. I have to do it because it'll be annoying for people listening, won't it, if they don't? So the band members were Sean, Richie, Scott, Jay, and Abs. Scott. No, still doesn't ring a bell.
And Sean, I remember Ringo. I really liked him.
Yeah, he was the best one.
He was definitely the man.
Scott currently presents the Drive Time show on Radio Essex, if you wanted to know.
I will give that a listen maybe some other time.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Boys and girls, it's another week. It's been a pleasure. For more activities, www.dadlersoul.com. Follow us on all the socials at dadlersoul.com, and there are lots and lots of other episodes. If you're new, to check us out on Spotify, Amazon, your Nan's Wireless, the odd 78 that you might find in a boot sale. We will probably be there.
And virtual reality as envisaged by Tomorrow's World in the 1980s.
Everybody get up.